every bit of it is connected to the other bits of it. Damage to one part of the tree will be recognized and somehow felt by the entire entity. I don't know if you, I love watching the Science Channel. I was watching the show. They actually prove and validated that the tree indeed senses when you do that. What I'm getting at here is that we are the human family. When some of us are hurt, you're in your living room watching TV and you see that there's some calamity on the other side of the world. How many of us stop for one moment, a couple of seconds of our own lives, and say a prayer in your mind for those unfortunate ones? Wouldn't that be the kind of things that we would do to make ourselves feel complete as a part of our human family? Wouldn't that be something that compassionate, caring, kind-minded people want to do? You see something bad happen to others and you feel empathy. You feel that feeling of caring, that deep sense of oneness that, oh God, I'm not there, but I can't help them. Oh God, help them in whatever way they can. And doing that alone, the thought process that goes through your mind to acknowledge that oneness with those people on the other side of the planet makes us a more complete human being. So we detach ourselves from the thing that we are such an integral part of. Humanity, the human family. And we become lost and detached, buried in our own loneliness and individual misery, and then we helplessly turn to God and we say, oh God, what have I done? What is happening to me? But we have, in our own way of thinking, isolated ourselves from that which is a grand whole of ourselves. We're an extension of the human family. If we were to start thinking of others, if we were to start praying and offering moments of prayers to others and acknowledging that oneness that we feel with them, we will begin to understand true universal love, as a child of God should feel for another child of God. This verse from the Bhagavad Gita explains that God is indeed in everything, including you and me. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. Bhagavad Gita says, Bhagavan Krishna here is saying that for those who see me, pashyati sees, sarvatra everywhere. For those who see me everywhere and sees everything in me, sarvam, everything, mai, in me, to him I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. How powerful. We believe as Hindus that God is here, there, and everywhere. How we don't recognize that God is also in those fellow souls who we may not have met, but we see, we hear about. How can we not acknowledge that divine presence also within them and offer a thought of compassion and a word of prayer in our minds for them? The moment we start thinking like this, the moment we start praying for others, the moment we start finding that kind of compassionate thoughts for others, we have begun a change within ourselves that makes us a more complete child of God. So how many of us make that an effort to feel that connection to the rest of the world, with the rest of our family, the rest of the universe? Our Hinduism believe in oneness with universe. You know, there's that old adage that says, and I use this a lot when we go to wakes and funerals, share your happiness and you multiply it. Share your sorrows and you divide it. That is true. Think about when you're happy and you call your family and you call your friends and you experience that and you make them all happy. And then when you have a really sorrowful moment in your lives and your family gather around you, all of a sudden that weight of sorrow don't seem so heavy until you're left alone again. There is so much truth in that. Let us think oneness. Let us think of others as part of ourselves. To share like this is a very human experience. Let us make an effort to acknowledge others in prayers every chance we get. Let us connect at that elevated spiritual level. Let us feel togetherness as children of one God. And when we do this, we will find more love and less dislike and less hate. And chances are, less wars. We will experience more love and less hate and dislike in our own lives because we don't entertain the thoughts in our minds. We will tend to partake less in hurtful gossip and the things that hurts others. And we'll be tempted to do more helpful things. You see, God is love and peace. We as His children are inherently love and peace. But we must begin to practice this peace. Remember that as a child of God, each of us have been gifted the ability, the potential to show that ultimate love to all the children of God. Not just humans, by the way, but the other children, to the other children of God too. We should focus on practicing universal love, comprising of compassion and kindness, tolerance and patience, forgiveness, caring and understanding of each other, less judgmental. And we should practice becoming caring and gentle with all of God's creatures. My brothers and sisters, my dear parents, all of these are godlike qualities. God has granted us, His children, the ability to practice these godlike divine qualities. But it is our choice to practice it or not. Let us all choose to practice these godly attributes, and together we can make this a heaven and earth. Om Deva Savita Prasuya Jam Prasuya Japatim Bhagaya Divyo Gandharva Ketapu Ketanna Punatu Vajaspatim Vachana Swadatu. O Divine Creator, inspire me to attain fortune in health, wealth and knowledge. But knowledge here, there's a difference between knowledge and intelligence. Someone can be very knowledgeable, but if you don't practice the knowledge, you couldn't be considered intelligent. Intelligence is the application of knowledge. So we learn and we apply. This is how it should be. Not have the book and not read from it. We learn, we apply the knowledge, and then we become intelligent. Then we become more spiritually elevated, spiritually pure. You have heard me say oneness with universe many times. You see, we're all intricately connected to God's creation, to each other. You have to embrace the fact that we are indeed connected to the rest of nature, the trees, plants, all the animals. We are connected. We're not separate. This is why this truly spiritual person will tell you that they are avid nature lovers. And they're also strict vegetarians. In many cultures, they pay homage to many aspects of nature. I absolutely enjoy to walk barefoot in grass and feel the sensation of grass between your toes, or walking barefoot in sand. I'll give you this example. I know of this family whose home is perfectly clean and spotless, and that is excellent. But I ask you this, and you decide whether this is extreme. See, in that family, nobody walks ever barefoot. Their foot never touched green grass, or sand for that matter. They never walked in or played in rain. In this family, the nature, that nature that we all love, is considered dirty. There's pollen outside. Oh, don't go outside. And if you go outside, run to the car and cover your face. Touching plants and trees is dirty. But we have to understand that we are an integral part of the universe and of nature. And we cannot detach ourselves from something which we are a part of. Even though our egos will tell you that we are independent and separate, we are not. We are an integral part of nature. You see, the grass, the worms, the trees, the bugs, the snakes, they're all made of the same things that we are made of. They're just put together differently. The energy that flows through the cat and the dog and the birds and the snake is the same energy that flows through my being, and that is the energy of God. When we realize this, we start to see and understand oneness with universe, oneness with nature, oneness with God. We cannot isolate ourselves from the universe and expect to live a healthy and prosperous life. This family I'm talking about, every single one of the family has some kind of medical issue. Weak immune system, rashes, allergies, grown kids that are afraid of a tiny ant. We cannot isolate ourselves from nature and expect to live a fulfilling, happy and healthy life. So, if now you've come to the point where, yes, you agree with me that we are the family of God, then it will be easy for you to understand that many of us are in this classroom of life, in this school of life, in different levels of classes. If we think back to karma, then we'll also understand that our karma has dictated what level of classroom we're in at this time. When we realize this, we will begin to understand, and this is very important to understand, that the things we do and the things we say are done at the level of thinking at which we exist. If someone is over there, or 100 people are over there, bad-mouthing Pandit Jag, they are not wrong. At their level of thinking, they are right. It's okay. That should not get me upset, because if it does, all I'm doing is feeding my ego. It's okay. But what we can do to help is to help them raise their level of thinking. And that can only happen when they are ready to have their level of thinking raised. If I insist on going and lecturing to them about raising their level of thinking, all I'm doing is feeding my own ego. Again, there's no such thing as a bad child of God. At their level of thinking, they're right. Once we understand this, and I apply this to every person in my life, at work or at home. Somebody says something to upset me, I think to myself, okay. They're just saying and doing things at their level of thinking. It's okay.